Welcome to episode 1 of Our Time in the Galapagos, aka our delayed honeymoon / you never know when the world's gonna end, so might as well tick as many epic locations off our bucket list as we can kind of trip. Thanks to a combination of its remote location and protected status, the Galapagos is one of the only places left in the world that you can experience the beautiful landscape and unreal wildlife that exists here in such a uniquely untouched way. It's something that you truly need to see to fully believe.
Galapagos Day 1, we made it. How are you feeling?
Great. It is really warm, but it is amazing and fantastic, and we've done so much so far, even for just day 1.
Made it to the safari camp. So far we did the Twin Craters, we stopped at a tortoise ranch, we had an awesome lunch, and now we're getting ready for dinner.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful out.
Yeah, we love it. We're excited for the next few days. Bye.
Let's do it.
Starting back at the beginning of our journey, we landed on Baltra Island after a full 18-hour travel day consisting of 4 different airports, a number twice that of the amount of hours of sleep I got. But once we arrived, the lack of sleep was immediately overpowered with adrenaline, and we hit the ground running. After meeting up with our naturalist Robert, we dove straight into our itinerary for day 1 on Santa Cruz, stopping at the Twin Craters and then the El Chato Tortoise Reserve. After an incredible start to the trip, seeing tortoises and checking out lava tunnels, we finally made our way back to the Galápagos Safari Camp, which would be our home for the next few days. Hidden deep within some property in the highlands, we were amazed at how insanely beautiful the location is. To top it off, we were treated with some bonus resident friends, which just added to the experience.
I'm just walking back to the room, and this guy is in my way.
After a delicious dinner and some drinks, we called it an early night to catch up on some much-needed sleep and prepare for an early start the following morning. The following day, we were up bright and early and winding our way through the hills of the highlands to Itabaca Channel, where we would find our boat, the Sea Finch. The destination for the day was Bartolomé Island, an insanely picturesque landscape and home to probably the most well-known view of the Galapagos, as well as being home to some of the endemic Galapagos hawks. On the way up to Bartolomé, we passed through a massive pod of dolphins who put on quite the show for us. It was definitely the largest group of dolphins that I'd ever seen in real life up to that point, but not to spoil anything coming up, it wouldn't keep that record for very long. Them, combined with the plethora of birds we saw and the epic seascapes in every direction, needless to say, it was an incredibly beautiful boat ride. After about 2 hours or so, we arrived to the island, disembarked, and headed to the shore for a hike up to the viewpoint. There are roughly 370 steps up to the summit of Bartolomé, and every single one of them is well worth it, although under the near midday sun on the equator, you'll definitely be feeling the heat. As we got closer to the top, a number of birds circling overhead became very apparent. Our naturalist, who had already tempered our expectations by saying that it's never a guarantee to see a Galapagos hawk, was quite surprised at first, but as it became clear that there were indeed 4 hawks on the summit, he became almost as giddy as us. Apparently, it's very rare to see a group like that, and I feel incredibly lucky to have gotten to witness it. As with most of the wildlife in the Galapagos, our presence was met with a mix of curiosity and indifference, or ignored entirely. I can't stress enough how cool it is to experience that relationship with wildlife, and that's just not a dynamic that exists in the vast majority of the world. After soaking in all the views at the summit and taking a gajillion photos of the hawks, we made our way back down to the tender. On the way back to the Sea Finch, we stopped at Pinnacle Rock to get a closer look at where we'd be snorkeling, and then found ourselves in yet another massive pod of dolphins. Now with 2 separate dolphin encounters and 4 hawk sightings, we were definitely feeling super lucky, still hopeful to get a glimpse of the endemic Galapagos penguin. Once we were back on the boat, we got some refreshments, geared up for snorkeling, and made our way back to Pinnacle Rock. This was our first time really getting in the water, and it met every expectation that we had. Between the sea lions, the sharks, and all of the other various sea life in every direction, it was yet another truly unforgettable experience. Unfortunately, the one notable animal missing from the party was the Galapagos penguin. There's only a small group of them on Bartolome, so it's just a matter of getting lucky with the timing, whether you see them or not. Although we didn't get to see them, some friends we made on the trip saw them the next day in that exact spot. After an epic snorkeling session around Pinnacle Rock, we hopped back on the Sea Finch and started the trip back home. Back at the safari camp, we passed some giant tortoises next to our tent on our way to relax a bit by the pool before heading to dinner, which was just as delicious as the night before. Following another long, active day in the sun, we were back in our tent for an early night once again. We definitely would need our energy for all the amazing days still to come.